Well, Bukayo Saka out for many weeks, and this has been confirmed by the manager of Arsenal. And we are here to obviously let you know that many weeks doesn't really specify, but that means it can be 4+ weeks for him to be out. If it's not 4, we will obviously confirm. Welcome to this channel. Smash the like button, comment and share. If you're only watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rokani David is my name, and hope you guys are really having fun wherever you are. And this is the channel that brings you your latest news and information about your favorite clubs. And here talk about Arsenal into the mix. And what's happening at Arsenal is really not all rosy, right? It's not all rosy. That is it for the club of Arsenal, because lots of things are not going their way. And Bukayo Saka pulled a hamstring when they're playing or beating Crystal Palace, by 5-1. And guess what? All looked not okay for them, especially when he really went off. But by the time he went off, I think Arsenal had gone ahead to obviously score the second goal, and obviously it was 2-1. And when he left the field of play, Arsenal went ahead to obviously collect in some other goals into the mix, and that is Arsenal for you. So smash the like button close to 200 or 300 times, and don't forget to obviously get us to 30,000 subscribers. But before you hit 30, we are left with few to hit 24,000 subscribers. And remember, we are powered by Mono Gadgets, dealers in brand new phones and brand new laptops. If at all you need a brand new phone or brand new laptop, even if you want a used phone and a used laptop, call them on +256 70 99 88 665, and you will thank me later, right? So that is Mono Gadgets for you, and they really bring you the best of gadgets. They also have affordable smartwatches. They've gone ahead obviously have what we call a Christmas bonanza, and you can as well call them on that number, and they'll obviously let you know the prices that are really favorable for their products. So Mono Gadgets is the way to go, and let's obviously follow them up on TikTok, search for Mono Gadgets, and they'll get you the best that you really deserve. So that is Mono Gadgets for you. Now, after the game of Crystal Palace, this is what the manager of Arsenal really had to say about Saka. I'm really gonna go through this hurriedly, then we go to what Arteta is gonna have to say today. Arteta was asked on losing Saka to an injury after regaining Ricardo Carafiori and Declan Rice's head, and Raheem as well. We lost Raheem Sterling yesterday. We don't know for how long as well. So to lose 2 players in 24 hours is not good, unfortunately, with the amount of games that we are playing every 3 days. With this schedule, it doesn't surprise me, but the team will react to that. You understand? So it's like the team will react to that. And that's what the manager is really saying about Saka. That's what he said, by the way, after the game of Crystal Palace. He was asked that on Bukayo Saka picking up a knock. He said he felt something in his hamstring. He couldn't continue. He would have to be assessed. So we are really worried about that one. So he was like, Saka had to be assessed, and they are really worried about Bukayo Saka and what is really going to be happening to the lad. And then he added and said, Arteta on how bad Bukayo Saka injury could be, said it's very difficult to say now. That was on Saturday when Arsenal went ahead to obviously annihilate Crystal Palace by 5-1. And he said they have tested him inside, but very difficult to say how bad it is. So by Saturday night, no one could come up with an ultimate time that Bukayo Saka was going to be kept out for, But in here, today, the managers come up and obviously said something about Saka that is really worrying. And he was also asked on if Saka sustained the same injury he did earlier this season. Said, I'm not sure if it's exactly the same one or the same leg. It's the 3rd minor injury. I don't know how big this one is going to be, but he already had 2 of them. So that's what he said on Saturday night. And everyone was like, the day is here, because they are playing Ipswich Town on the 26th of December, and the manager had to obviously come up and obviously get us into the know of what is really happening. And this is what we really heard from the manager. And what did the manager has to offer? The manager came up and told us today shocking story. Shocking story about Saka. And this is what the manager really had to say, that it's not looking good. He's going to be out for many weeks. Many. I cannot be too specific because I don't know, but it will be many weeks. That's what the manager of Arsenal has gone ahead to say about Bukayo Saka, that he's going to be out for many, many weeks. You get? So, when you talk about many weeks, people can talk about 4. I think 4 are not many. 4 are not many because 4, if you are to count 4 weeks from now, that means towards the end of January, he will be back. You understand? You know, around 21st. Those are 4 weeks. If it's many, that goes to 6, 8 plus weeks. I think that's what the manager is referring to. So, others are speculating that it's really going to be 4 weeks. But I think the manager coming in to say he's really going to be out for many weeks is really an indicator that it's not 4 weeks. Or maybe he might be meaning 4 weeks. But for a hamstring, if you've gone ahead, obviously here from the experts, it's all about 3 to 4 weeks when you're out. And we don't know the extent of his hamstring, you know. So we are waiting to see how Saka is obviously going to be responding. But I think this is one of the rests that Saka really needed to obviously get as a player, because I think he has played too much football in the recent past, you know. He obviously averaged 38 games per season in the last 3-4 seasons, you know. And I think it's the last season where Saka went ahead to obviously miss out on certain games. But the previous seasons, before last season, he came up and obviously almost scored, and played almost in every game. That is Bukayo Saka for you. So, as it stands, it's a Saka show and a Saka shock at the same time, because he's going to be out for some good number of weeks. And this is where we obviously have to wait for the exact time frame for him to return. Then the manager was asked on how big a blow it is for Arsenal not to have Bukayo Saka. He said, yes, it's a huge one. Obviously, he's a big player for us. Yes, you just have to see the impact that he has on the team. But it's going to be a really, really good exercise for all of us to think about ways to overcome another challenge, because we've already had a lot in the season. So, he's like, they've had a lot in the season. And by the way, when he talks about them having a lot in the season, what does he mean? Very many injuries, you know. Carafiori, Zinchenko, Gabriel Magalhaes, Julian Timber, Thomas Partey, Declan Rice, Martin Odegaard, Gabriel Jesus. You understand? Close to 8-9 players have been really, really, really injured. You get? And those players being injured, it really brings in a lot of question marks onto the physio side of Arsenal, because in the recent past, Arsenal players couldn't obviously get injured as they are really getting injured this time round. So we are here to obviously look out for what we think the side of Arsenal is really going to be like. But it's really a very huge one. But I've already told people that I think it's now time for Arteta to come up with a plan B of not playing with Bukayo Saka. And I think I should come up with the different formations or lineups that I think Arteta can come up and obviously come up with to obviously resonate with Saka's absentia. And is Nwaneri going to be put into the team? That's a big question, because he can also play as a right attacking midfielder or a right forward. And I tell you, Nwaneri is a more talented player than Bukayo Saka. You get? I'm talking about talent. Like skipping past players, being press resistant, his shot accuracy, his unselfish, his eye for that pass. And the difference these two have is that when Saka is playing, he really drives so much to the byline. When Nwaneri is playing, he chops inside, and leaves the byline. Meaning that if you try out Nwaneri, and he does the best and chops inside, That means you can really utilize the goodness of Julian Timber to obviously make that run that Saka is always going to hate to be making towards the byline, and maybe Waneri might obviously play him in. I think Waneri is the best candidate, though in the game of Crystal Palace, we saw to it that the manager came up and obviously played none other than Martinelli onto the right wing, where this guy has always gone ahead to play. The other player that would have gone ahead to officially come up and represent in that position goes by the names of Raheem Sterling, but we all know to it that he hasn't found himself in proper shape, and he's also injured, and he's also going to be out for weeks. It's a story that we're going to be running, but otherwise, it's time to see how Arsenal can perform without Bukayo Saka. And this is when you're going to get to know that Odegaard is the most important player at Arsenal. When Odegaard was out, you saw how Arsenal struggled a little bit. But with Odegaard and having another player onto that side that is not Saka, you're obviously going to see how Odegaard is really important, because he's this kind of guy who's obviously going to hold this team on his shoulders, I tell you. And all is on him. And by the way, when we're not having Bukayo Saka, it's a chance for the manager to obviously try out something different, in like attacking, to obviously go ahead and obviously shock his opponents, because Saka is predictable. You know what he's going to do. Though he's efficient at what he does, but it's very easy to know what Saka is going to do. Now, Arsenal is obviously going to come up in a different shape altogether and see how the players are really going to be looking. One is talking about Gabriel Jesus. He can also be played as a right forward, because we saw to it that he played there. But with the form he's in, I don't think that you would like to obviously risk him and play him as a right forward. I think it doesn't work out that way. So, at the look of things, I tell you, it's really going to be very important for the club of Arsenal to obviously see to it that all really goes on well as planned for the manager. So we are waiting to see how things are really going to pan out for the club of Arsenal and the rest of the players. But Saka is out. Now, this is the most shocking bit of it all, when the manager really gave us a reply like this to a question that was posed to him by the pundits. Arteta on if Saka will be back before the end of the season. He said, in football with injuries, it wouldn't want to put my 10 fingers there, but I would be very optimistic that he's going to be well back before the end of the season. You get? So, the anticipation is he can get back before the end of the season. But how is he going to react to the treatment being given to him, and the rehabilitation is really going to be very important, because with the pressure that Arsenal is going to be having without him, and how they're going to handle it, that's how all on what they will depend on really hurrying him back. But with the players at Arsenal, I think they won't hurry him back. It's better for him to heal. Even if he's going to be out until February, let him be out for that. And let them not really rush him here. Because when they rushed Gabriel Jesus last season but one, you saw what happened. It affected Arsenal in the following seasons. Because even now, Jesus cannot really be fit or available for a long period of time. You understand? So, that is it. So, I'm waiting to see how everything is really going to be panning out for the lad known as Bukayo Saka, and I'm waiting for your reactions into the comment section below, as Bukayo Saka is out for very many weeks. Bye bye for now. See you later as I'm calling in for your reactions in the comment section below. Bye bye.